All right. Ron Barron, it's such a delight to meet you and to get to interview you for Golden Wisdom of Love, Legends, and Legacies. And what prompted you to decide to write a chapter for this book?
Well, I was invited, number one, to write. And I've been writing for about 14 years now. I had a rare form of head and neck cancer, and uh, uh, it was pretty brutal, the treatment, the protocol. And during the protocol, I had a near-death experience. So after that, um, when you literally leave your mind and your body, you get very clear that you're not your mind, your personality, your persona, your identity, and you're not your body. And so when I came back, my head was very confused. I was messed up for quite some time. So
Mm.
what I did 17 years ago is I started to write and journal, um, just so I could figure life out. And then I came across a quote by somebody who said, "Reality is an illusion, albeit a persistent one." And that was Dr. Albert Einstein. So I fell in love with him, and I took that advice and I went with it. So so I've been writing, and what happened was I realized that I never expressed the life-threatening and life-altering experience that I had, and that's what I put in my chapter.
Wow. What a journey and such a learning experience beside the journey, of really reckoning with how instantly our life can change and
And
really how impactful that is. And to think of life in a whole different way from then on.
life does change on a dime. I mean, uh, 17 years ago, it was 1 out of 5,000 Caucasians get the type of cancer. It's a head and neck cancer, and so when you shoot somebody's head with 5,000 rads of radiation, which is the maximum you could give a human being, it's brutal. It was a really brutal, inhumane protocol. They don't do that anymore.
Thank
And
God.
yeah, and people that were my constituents, they were actually dying anywhere between 4 months to 8 years after the protocol. I'm on my 17th year now,
Wow.
cancer
Congratulations.
free. Thank you. But what happens with radiation, I was told that by the doctors, that it's the gift that keeps on giving. So I kindly said, I'm not going to buy into that with other choice words. And what I found was my symptoms started to creep up. I was getting more and more symptoms as time went by. So from year 8 to year 17, um, I lost my right carotid artery. I went deaf in both ears, with the exception of 20% in my right ear. I developed tongue neuropathy. I have radioactive fibrosis all throughout my head and neck. Um, I lose my vision. I go blind. I get dizzy. I mean, all this stuff has happened as a result of the radiation, and I'm not a quitter. And I have learned to meditate, and I go within often, so that all the suffering, 97% of the suffering and the anguish is really gone. Um, so I live with a sense of humility. And during the years, I became a minister. I became a transformational reality coach, um, just so that I could take what I've learned, which I've harnessed into a language, um, and share it, and help other people uh, free themselves from themselves. As
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So so it was a long journey. I remember putting my mind and my body on a slab and really dissecting what was going on. And I got to see when the mind is happy, you have a healthy, happy body. And when the mind is dysfunctional, you have dis-ease and discomfort in the body. And it's directly proportional. So what I've done is I will confront issues head on in order to heal them. And plus, I'm a native New Yorker, so it works very easily. Yeah.
We're going to take care of this issue.
Yes.
Wow, what a
I try to
remarkable.
do it. I try to do it with love and kindness as best I can. Yeah.
What a remarkable tribute you are to the tenacity of spirit and the so many would have given up long before. And so here you are, what a tribute and what a example you are to the rest of this world, to all of us, that
Thank you, Becky. I
that
appreciate that.
you decide to keep on keeping on, you know. And I know this has to have been quite a journey.
It has been. I mean, I'm willing to tell it now if I could continue to speak. I have the doctors that I've gone to. People know me personally by first name at Mayo Clinic. There's nothing that people could do for me. Usually, when you have a protocol like I do, they stop looking at you after 8 years. There's no more visits. You're just put out to pasture. And so I had to be my own personal advocate. And so I look for anything that's alternative as far as cure, not remission. I'm cured from cancer, but to cure radioactive fibrosis, I haven't found it yet. And I'm not exactly sure what causes it to keep moving forward. And no doctor has really been able to answer that. So I will do whatever I need to do, from organic food to meditating to yoga to exercise to good nutrition, good sleep. And one of the things I realized is that, which really is important for my platform, is being fully responsible and accountable. I gave myself to cancer, and most people would go, how are you saying that? Well, do you have cancer, Becky?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, see, the thing is, you do. We all do.
Yeah.
And we have millions of cancer cells. And what happens is our immune system, a healthy immune system, takes care of them. But when you are stressed, you don't eat right, you're not getting enough sleep, you don't exercise, your nutrition is poor, all of a sudden that packs a punch to your immune system, and your immune system says, all right, I'm out of here, you handle it. So then at that point, a deficient immune system can't fight the cancer cells. So then they grow into the billions. And once they're in the billions, that's when modern medicine can say, oh, guess what? You have cancer, no matter what part of your body. So my throat has always been a vulnerable area. I had laryngeal papilloma when I was young. So it's always been a weakened area. So what will happen is, when there is a disease, it's going to attack the area in your body that's the weakest. So I realized that a dear friend of me, a friend of mine, had said to me one time, before I even started my protocol, she saw that I was really upset, pretty messed up. And she said, could I coach you for a second? I said, sure. She said, you're a man. I said, okay. And she said, and you have a mustache. I said, okay, where are we going with this? And she says, and you have cancer. And the moment she said that, Becky, I felt this like knot in my stomach. And she said, excuse me, who died and made you cancer-free exempt? We're human beings. We get colds, we get flu, broken bones, and we get cancer. And I'm sitting there waiting for the punchline, right? And then she finally said, you don't have cancer. Cancer has you. And I went, holy crap.
Right.
Bingo, light bulb, light bulb. So at that point, before my protocol, I said, I choose cancer. I choose it. I created it. I own it. I choose it. Now let's go on the journey. Because at that point, I became responsible and accountable. Whereas beforehand, I would blame it and blame life on other things and circumstance.
Yes.
So that was a really big lesson, which thank God that came before I began, because my doctors that I interviewed, the one I ended up with was a woman who said to me, I'm going to tell you everything there is to know, and you're going to make the final decision. Meanwhile, I'm scared to death because I had cancer, big C, and now it's in my head. I was given 3 to 6 months to live because it would have metastasized. So time was of the essence. And so when she said that, she says, yeah, we're going to co-pilot this together. I went, okay, I'm ready. Before that, I was pretty paralyzed, thinking that I'm going to leave it all up to the doctors. Well, I didn't.
Well, that makes you powerless when you leave it up to somebody else.
Correct. As anything in life, anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow, what a beautiful interview, and what a contribution to this book that you've been able to make.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Just hats off to you that to be 17 years later and you've got a smile on your face and you're telling a beautiful story that will impact others. So truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And a good wake-up call probably for the majority of us, to really pay attention.
Yep. And if you could go back to the fact that reality is an illusion, it's persistent. And there was what I've uncovered is that when we're born, we inherit a whole bunch of beliefs. When your mom gave birth to you, she's holding this little thing, right? Precious little thing, and she said, honey, what should we call it? She said, I don't know, let's call it Becky. Yeah. So what happens is Becky was then taught beliefs and culture and customs from her past. And then what we do is we perpetuate it. And then we go to school and we learn more belief systems. And what happens is we forget that it was all made up.
What happens is that we also grow up and then we have kids of our own, and we learn a different way, but we still make our own mistakes, and we still blunder our way through it.
Absolutely. So even when we grow and develop, we're only substituting one illusion for another. And what my platform in my teaching is, there is no absolute truth, none. And we make the mistake of embedding these beliefs as truth. So in my books that I hope to publish, I mean, again, I've been writing now for 14 years, and I just decided after I was invited to write my chapter here that I'm going to publish now. Now it's time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, if you need any help with that, be sure and reach out to me.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All righty. Well, thank you for this beautiful interview, and we'll send you a copy of the video, and it'll also go into the end of the chapter on your chapter in the book.
Becky, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
All righty. And have a beautiful day. Thank you.
You too. Bye-bye.